Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales is now streaming live on Fun Media at fun927.com and is always on Facebook, YouTube, X, Twitch, and at tv5wrestling.com.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales and special guests.
Hello again, everybody. Hey, it's Randy Hills, and I'm live from where my story began, the hub of Northeast Arkansas, Jonesboro, Arkansas, out Highway 49 a few miles out of Jonesboro, and we're ready to rock and roll tonight with Talking Memphis Wrestling. And I want to say my hellos to Richard is in the house, and Lucien, and my buddy. We'll put him up there. My buddy Bo James is watching the show from the Tri-Cities. Appreciate it. BC's in the house. Greg's in the house. Alvin's in the house. Richard's in the house. All kinds of people are ready to rock and roll with this program tonight, and we appreciate it. And the first lady of this show is from Thailand, and that's always impressive to me that PJ, first lady of the Randy Hill Show, Talking Memphis Wrestling, love her to death, and the #1 Memphis Wrestling fan, the #1 Jerry Lawler fan, not only in Thailand, but anywhere in the world. Shane is in the house, and appreciate everybody. And if I fail to put a comment or refer to a comment, I'm here pushing the buttons and hosting. Adam will not be able to be on the show tonight, a work conflict, and we'll miss him. Listen, hello from Michigan, snowy up here. What in the hell are you doing in Michigan from Lexington, Kentucky? Bunch of people in this house, and we appreciate it. And Thomas is saying hello to PJ. Hey, if you notice, and I'll straighten up here, I am wearing my Christmas gift. This is from Dr. William Rusty freaking Robinson. Now, he would fit in, by the way, you're going to have me wearing the shirt, him wearing the shirt, and him being the real stinking thing, because he is what he is. Now, this is absolutely, without a doubt, better than just having it on the shirt. He is no doubt would have fit in the wrestling business very well. You can tell that he's in gimmick. He has his gimmick on, but it's a shoot. It's a shoot. The doctor had surgery, as we know, a month or two ago now, but he had more stuff recently, and he has a pretty cool look with his, supporting his blue Doctor t-shirt, the real human being as we are. Gonna ramble on till Michael shows up, and we'll bring in Dr. Rusty William Robinson, originally from Memphis. He is now in Orange Beach. A lot of his life, New Orleans. He's been to Texas. He's been to LA. He's been all over the world. And you got your gimmick on, your Terry Funk impersonation, and your t-shirt. Hey, Rusty.
Hey, Randy, thanks for having me. Hello to everybody in the chat. Good to see everybody again. And I apologize for my eye. I hope it doesn't scare anybody. I had my eye dilated again, and the doctor says I'm doing good. The hole in my retina has closed, but my eye is still dilated, so I can't see out of it very well. So I just closed it up. So I'm looking with my good eye tonight. So that's why the patch is there.
Well, it's pretty darn cool. Absolutely pretty darn cool. We are going to start with some BS. We're waiting for Michael Stanton. John to come in. And remember, folks, I will be a little distracted because I will not only be hosting the show, I will be pushing the buttons, that sort of thing. My buddy from Jonesboro lives in the other part of Arkansas now. Frank Seaton is in the house. Thomas is saying hello to you, and BC is saying hello to you, and the PJ is saying hello to you. Hey, I think that's bullshit. It looks like you're over. This is my show, and it looks like you're over. Man, what's up with that?
What can you say? You know, I did have my pirate motif going on for a while when I first started this, but I've actually had the patch off for the last 2 weeks or so, mostly. It's just today that I put it back on. I told Randy before the show started I'm doing my Terry Funk imitation. My eye, my eye. When
My
he had
cheesy eye, what he said.
when Lawler stabbed him in the eye, supposedly with the wooden chair leg, which is one of my favorite matches of all time.
That didn't draw a dime because it was in an empty
Empty
coliseum.
arena.
Then Terry went to Japan, and by the time he came back, it was forgotten.
Yep.
And because the baby face hurt the heel, that's not the baby face coming back. It was half-assed backwards. Now,
However, I did see that was Dave Meltzer, from Wrestling Observer. Dave Meltzer rated that his first 5-star match, the empty arena match between Terry and Lawler.
that is not true.
No?
He rated the first 5-star match, not the empty Coliseum, the no time, no disqualification match between Funk and Lawler.
Oh, okay.
I believe in '82. That one was absolutely fantastic. Alexander from Massachusetts. Does anybody have any Chick Donovan stories? He was a weirdo, probably still is. Now sometimes I try to know stuff, what's going on, and especially if it's wrestling related. Richard Hood asked a million questions to show. Most of the questions I don't even remember or I don't know. He's asking Randy, where is Pat Tillman? Doc, can you tell me who the hell Pat Tillman is? Because I don't have a clue.
Well, the only Pat Tillman I know is the former military guy who was in Afghanistan. I believe he won medals for valor. Didn't he go on to play in the NFL? I believe that's him. I don't know where he is right now, though. Haven't heard anything about him, I don't think, in a long time.
No.
But I'm pretty sure that's the Pat Tillman I remember.
Did he have anything to do with wrestling? Because this is a wrestling show, and I think you're right about who that is. Maybe Richard can let us know.
Yeah, not that I know of, but that didn't mean anything.
Hi to Michael Butler in Humboldt, Tennessee, my buddy. Say it every time.
You could see the WWE grabbing a guy like Pat Tillman at the height of his fame and putting him on. Yeah, somebody says he's dead in the comments.
Yeah. I think he was killed, wasn't he?
There's something like that.
And
Yeah, Richard says he played for Arizona. Yeah.
Played for Arizona for sure. And Alexander says, Randy, is there plans to make Memphis Wrestling territory action figures complete with a toy USWA or Power Pro ring? Not that I know of. I'm not into that kind of stuff. I'm into booking wrestling. I am. So, Jimmy thinks that he means Pat Trammell.
I bet that's right.
Pat, I believe, is in Las Vegas on a work-related situation. And so I don't know how you got Pat Tillman out of that, but certainly we know where Michael is. He's on the way from the radio station back home, and he'll get in and he will join the motel where he has worked. And for some reason, I popped off and popped right back on, and I wasn't touching a dead gum building at all. And
we can see and hear you just fine, though, Randy.
Yeah, I'm back on now, but did you notice me go away for a second?
Yeah, you popped out for a minute. I thought I was going to have to take over there.
Oh, yeah, you would be fine with it. Bo says Pat is in Vegas. I just said that, Bo. You have to correct me when there's no reason to fucking correct me. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I remember that about Pat Tillman too. He died in a friendly fire accident, and they tried to kind of keep it quiet. As I recall, the military tried to kind of keep it quiet, but it eventually got out.
That is good. That is good for sure. I'm Randy Hills. This is Talking Memphis Wrestling. We're waiting for Michael St. John to come in. We have a great show, folks. Classic footage from the 70s. We had super, Mo, you know you like correcting. It gives you a nut. It gives you a thrill. It's the highlight of your life coming in, watching this show and correcting. Half the time it's nothing I said wrong, but you love it. You get off on it. You absolutely get off on it. Jimmy Street is watching this show. Troublemaking Jimmy Street. What in the hell is going on with you? Now,
Hey, let's ask Bo. James, he may know the answer to that question I was asking you before we started. So I saw
don't make
Memphis.
him have a bigger head than he has, please.
I saw a Memphis TV match this week, just out of the blue. I was at the gym and I was watching, and it was a match from Memphis that I had never seen before. I had thought it was in 1983 because I would have been in medical school then. I missed a lot of stuff then because of working so hard. Any rate, the match had a guy named Speedy Talltree, was one of the guys in the match, and he was with a girl named Debbie Combs, who many of us knew as a wrestler, and she jumps in the ring and helps him at some point. And Debbie was Cora Combs' daughter, and Lance and Dave mentioned that on the air. And I had never remembered seeing Speedy Talltree. And Randy corrected me to say that was Tom Renesto's son, which makes sense, I guess, because Renesto was there at the time. He even came on and did like a cameo in that piece, so you could see him coming out as like the authority figure. I thought that was 83. Randy thinks it's 85 because that's when Renesto was booking.
I don't think it was 85. I know it's 85. I know
I
it's
was in
85.
medical school both 83 and 85, so it could be.
It is. I promise you. It absolutely is. Pat, now, Ernesto, after the split, probably in 79, Ernesto booked for Nick Goulas on the other end. But he had pretty good success in LA, and years earlier, good success booking the opposition promotion for Georgia Championship Wrestling. He was a smart guy, and he was real successful in Puerto Rico, and that's why Jerry Jarrett, who at this point Bill Dundee was gone, had lost the loser leave town match going to Bill Watts, and so they would alternate between Lawler and Jarrett, but at that point Jerry felt that he was burned out, so had Lawler do it for a few weeks, but made the deal with Tom Ernesto for about 3 weeks, and then Jerry took over, not officially. Tom was still named the booker. Tom was brilliant, a great wrestling man. Certainly, he just didn't know the Memphis territory. He just didn't know the Memphis territory.
Wasn't Tom one of the original assassins also?
Yes, with Jody Hamilton.
Right.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Hey,
Did Speedy Talltree ever do anything else in Memphis?
Maybe a shot here or there.
I don't remember seeing him.
Hear that? Tom's other son was Tom Branch that wrestled, and he also was a heel referee. And Bo says, I feel like I'm having to get freaking cleared on shit I'm saying on my show on a year that I was there. Anyway, Bo says RH is 100% correct. Correct. It was 1985. I'm glad.
Okay, I give.
Richard says Randy Tom Ernesto booked for Gunkel. I said the opposition territory. Jesus Christ. Interns are, what about the interns? James Davis says the interns. They
He
weren't
was
there.
not an intern, I don't think.
No, that I know of. He was a part of the Assassins, Tom Ernesto and Jody Hamilton, and also I think the Great Bolos, a great wrestling team. Just fantastic. Man, we had such a good time last week, a fantastic time for sure, talking about old school Channel 13 wrestling. We have classic videos. I know this is an extended opening. I know I'm producing and having to do everything. I know that I've gone 17 minutes waiting for Michael St. John to arrive for his first take, and I guess I didn't officially get you to have a first take, but we've been talking for 17 minutes, so we'll say some of the crap that are stuff that he said, uh, Dr. Rusty Robinson can be considered his first take. And he's all a gimmick. He's all patched up. And here is Michael
There he
St.
is.
freaking John. Hello, Michael.
Hi,
Hey,
Michael.
Randy. Hey, Doc. Hey, Doc. It wasn't that bad of a game that you had to poke your eye out just because Miami didn't win. Come
Very
on.
tough. Oh, I was pulling for Ole Miss. You know, they beat Tulane, so I was hoping Ole Miss would go all the way. But
I was too. I think they got robbed, but anyway,
yep.
I think the right team won though. I am. There you go. Let me tell you a quick story, and then we can get to wrestling because I don't have a first take other than this quick story. This sweatshirt is a really heavy duty sweatshirt. I bought it at the Russell Outlet Store in Alexander City, Alabama in 2005. 2005. I haven't worn it that much because, number one, I'm not an Indiana fan, and I'll only put it on when it's really, really cold. But I got to take, because they make sweatshirts. By the way, if you buy a sweatshirt in New Orleans, or you buy a sweatshirt in Nashville, or you buy a sweatshirt in Michigan, there are 3 different weights of sweatshirts. But I got this on. It's a little warm. I will be ditching it very shortly, but I just wanted to show it. Since I had an Indiana shirt, may as well give them their props. If Indiana can do it, so can Tulane, so can Vanderbilt, and Randy, so can Arkansas State.
That would be the greatest thing since sliced bread. There's no doubt about it. Something that I added to the show, folks, we got Memphis content. Don't be scared. Don't be worried. Don't think I'm going nuts. But I am not starting because you're going to have to wait a few minutes to get to this part for sure. Ricky Fetz is in the house. And woo, Indiana, baby. Hey guys, I know Michael has heard this. Richard, I don't know if you have heard it or not Richard, but Dr. William Rusty freaking Robinson. But there's another professional wrestling television show on cable, and it premiered a week ago Thursday on AMC, returning to cable for the first time in several years. It is TNA Wrestling, who first went live as a promotion in Huntsville, Alabama, I believe at the Von Braun Center. The TNA Thursday night on AMC. Michael, I heard numbers that premiere show did under 300,000, maybe 270, something like that. I heard a lot of reviews, and I know most reviews are pretty negative anyway. It's the beauty of the beast. I heard Jim Cornette. I heard all kinds of stuff. People that like Tommy Dreamer and Bully Ray that was on the show loved the thing. Dixie Carter was a special guest, and the fans there in Canada.
Oh, they booed her no end.
The fans
Just kept going. Yeah. Doing her promo, they kept booing.
Michael, your thoughts on, did wrestling need a now number 3? People are predicting that's going to be quickly the #2 wrestling promotion in the country. AMC compared to TNT
Oh,
and TBS, it ain't happening.
no.
Absolutely, it ain't happening. A Canadian, not Canada. It's a Canadian-based promotion, and um, TNA over the last several years, it's not like it was when Jerry Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett founded it. And to me, one last thing to throw it to Michael, I think the biggest negative happened with TNA was a power play by Dixie Carter that wanted from day one to be the boss without a doubt. She ended up putting Jeff Jarrett on leave, took him out of creative, a power play to put her in charge, brought in other people. Jeff eventually left. When the good things, the memorable things that happened with TNA, Jeff Jarrett was there. When they brought in two people that had been successful, without a doubt, Harry Bischoff, who was successful with TBS, and Hulk Hogan, who's professional wrestling, you can't find many more people that are more successful than that. But Michael, when did Hulk Hogan, up until the time he got in TNA, when did he ever run a professional wrestling show? Your thoughts?
I haven't had a long series of talks with Jeff, but I've talked to Jeff briefly over all that when all that came down. When TNA was first formed, let's go all the way back to 2002, I think it was, when
2002, when it went
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
June of 2002.
And they actually wanted me. I did the promo voices for all the startup, the first show, and they hadn't decided where it was going to be. And I had a conversation, and it was a three-way conversation, and Jerry was on the phone. And I suggested Huntsville for a couple of reasons. Number one, the proximity to Nashville. The boys could drive down. I mean, and folks that were coming from Atlanta could get here easy. People from Memphis. It's not in the center, but it's an easy drive. And number two, that wrestling here in Huntsville had always drawn. It wasn't a super city for wrestling, but it always drew. This city always reminded me of a better than Evansville or a Greensboro kind of vibe. And
So like kind of a good second city.
And I'll never forget the night that the show debuted. I was supposed to be part of the show, and my dad had AAA bypass surgery. The oldest individual in Alabama that had ever at that point he was 85, and he had AAA surgery. And it was, everything was supposed to be over and done with by 1:30, 2 o'clock, so I could walk to the arena from the hospital and be in the show. Well, things didn't go well, and I didn't end up getting over there until about 7:30. And the show was well attended, but the show had a magic about it. They had Fargo was here. They had the country music singer that passed away, Toby Keith. I mean, and there was, Ric Flair was, or Harley Race was here. It was magical. And they had a huge crowd. They had a great crowd. They had a great taping. The outlet. I mean, they did, and I think they were on their way. But I'll be honest with you, Randy, and you shed some light on this. I don't know where the financial problems began. Did they overpay people? Was it the travel? Where did that all start? Because it was on an upward trajectory, and then all of a sudden there were tons of problems, and here came Dixie on the white horse. I guess somebody found her or brought her to the party. But Dixie had an ego, just like you said. And I don't think it was over the fact that she didn't like Jeff Jarrett, but I think it was more so that Dixie wanted to be the face of the place. It was her money. She wanted to be the face of the place. What's your thoughts? Because that's sort of where I see it.
I'll tell you what I heard is Michael, is that Jeff had been using Dixie for public relations, because that's what she was doing before she got TNA. When he told her the financial trouble that they were in, she approached her father and asked for money to basically buy out the biggest interest in TNA, which she did. So that's how I think she got in there. And you're right. She had an ego and wanted to be in charge and, eventually forced Jeff out, like you said.
Now, y'all want to know the real story?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So it was a Jerry Jarrett business. They
Right.
needed, because they were going to do weekly pay-per-views, never been done before. They needed uh, investor. It's Alabama related. Who is Richard Scrosey or something like that?
Scrushy.
Oh, yeah.
Richard
Yeah, yeah.
Scrushy. Richard Scrushy. I can't say it. You got me saying it wrong. He's the guy that he put up Grandview Hospital. He was
Yep.
he was the man in charge of the retirement systems of Alabama, RSA. One of the richest people in Alabama, Richard Scrushy.
Scrooshy.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, the guy had lots of money. He was the guy that built the huge golf and hotel complex down in Birmingham. In fact, where I was inducted into the Alabama Broadcast Hall of Fame, out at. And I can't even think the name, but the guy had tons of money. Absolutely. Was that Dixie's connection, Randy?
No.
Scrushy.
He preceded Dixie.
He preceded Dixie.
Yeah. He was going to be their investor, but then he got in trouble. Isn't that right, Randy? He got
Yes, that's
in
where I
legal
was
trouble.
going.
Yeah.
That's where I was going. Just a second here. And this way.
Richard Scrushy in Alabama with Retirement Systems of America got in trouble for misinvesting
Right.
money of the retired. All the retirement systems of the state came through him. And he's a big Auburn guy. But he apparently he did some things that's not kosher, and he got in big trouble. In fact, I think he went to prison to one of those. I think he went to Maxwell Air Force Base or Gunner Air Force Base in Montgomery in their prison.
Okay, he was going to be the original investor of TNA. The ownership group was, the majority was Jeff. Jerry was underneath that, but the people investing it was the dude from Alabama. That's why I always say you got to be careful with these people from Alabama. And
You got that right.
I've got two on this show right now, but there was another bad situation because two little double whammies. First of all, they were using pay-per-view numbers that their pay-per-view provider, and I forgot the guy's name, was providing them, and they were spending accordingly. They were spending accordingly based on that. They found out they got false information. So it was serious enough that this situation with no notice at all, Scrusy did even cover one of the television tapings money that had to be funded. I mean, we're talking about a ton of money. It came close to bankrupting both Jarretts. And one of the things that I'm glad, because I know Jerry Jarrett most of my life, and Jeff Jarrett's been a friend of mine and still is, and that would have been absolutely horrible. Jeff tried to go to all his vendors. Go to all the vendors and tell them, say, hey, we're going to pay you. We're getting another investor. We're getting it set up, but you may not get paid immediately. Went and had that conversation with his PR guy, Dixie Carter, that had no idea who Dixie Carter was. So he explained the situation, said, we're looking for the investor. And she said, my dad might be interested in that. And Jerry didn't take her too seriously. Well, we're talking about a lot of money. And Dixie said, Google, if they had Google back then, I think they did. And did they have Google in 2002, Michael?
If it was a baby, but I don't remember it.
I don't think so.
He figured out that he was a billionaire. And so that saved everything. The Carters became the majority owners of the company. Jerry and Jeff had minor deals, and later on, Jerry sold his part because he was so fed up of the situation. But that's a long story to figure out based on very close conversations, not only with Jeff, but with Jerry, with other people that was there at the time. That is absolutely what happened. Hey Josh, what is going on? And everybody, hope everybody is doing good. Before you reply to what I said about the TNA mess, and before I want you to see if you saw any of the show and what feedback you have, but I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Michael Rubin says, Michael St. John, what's the best match you ever watched in person?
Whoa. I'd have to think about that one.
We'll come back. We'll come back to it later. How about that?
Let's circle back to that. I'll think about that. I could easily say what's the best match I ever called. I mean, yeah, that would be pretty easy. But I mean, other than that, God, that's a great question. But thank you. I'll think about it.
Michael, Randy, what's the worst real life fight you witnessed in the dressing room? Miss Texas, Jackie Moore, and Luna Vachon, and Luna beat the shit out of Jackie. I mean, bad.
I say you're absolutely right. That was ugly.
Also, there was a dust up that ended up with a knife being pulled, a confrontation between Wolfie D and Bill Dundee. Just didn't see a lot of fights going back in. Let's wrap up the TNA talk, Michael, with your thoughts.
I did not see the show. I will try to watch that show because I hope the best for TNA. I'll be honest with you. Having a little finger in to do something with it when it originally started, I hope the best for them. I also got word that there's another Canadian group that's on TV that's going on Roku or whatever it's called MLW.
That's been around for
years. Okay, because I just got a text on my phone today or yesterday about it. But the TNA thing, and I've watched a little bit of that show. I believe it was on Vice or one of those other little teeny networks before now going over to AMC, American Movie Classics. Interesting, it's a Canadian company. But AMC has a pretty loyal listening or viewership from older people. Their demographic is 50 plus, and it does. I mean, that's why it's on all the satellites and the cables and everything, because it has a good following because they showed old movies. I find it odd for them to be getting into wrestling, especially into wrestling that is current, rather than showing old tapes of an old, whatever. But maybe there's just none available. But that's interesting. I will definitely give it a watch. But I don't know. I did see today where Tony Khan got voted Fightful magazine or Fightful website or whatever's Booker of the Year. And that was all over the sports. It was in the Athletic and several other sports things that I get.
I did see the show, the TNA show, and I was disappointed. They only had, I think, 3 matches total in the whole 2-hour show. They did lots of clips from the past of old TNA stuff. And lots of commercials. It seemed like more than usual. Overall, it was disappointing. But like you, I'm pulling for them. More wrestling, the better, as far as I'm concerned. But the first show was not what I anticipated.
I have a question for you guys because I always like to keep track of the old NWA title. And Dan Severn had it, and I thought he did a good job. And then after that, is that still around? I guess NWA is still around, but is the title still around, and is it still the belt that Harley had?
I'm not sure if it's still the belt Harley had or the big belt that Ric Flair had. That promotion now, Smashing Pumpkins Billy Corgan is the owner
owns it
of that situation, and I do not know in any way who is the champion for sure. By the
No, do
way,
I.
I'm looking at a different thing. I wish somebody would tell me who the NWA World Champion as Mark
The
Aaron.
last one I remember was Nick Aldis was the NWA World Champion for
That's
a
been a
while.
long time ago.
Yeah, it's
Right.
been a while.
That tells you, what I don't know about him.
Want to say hello to Bo James too. He was listening to my radio station today in Scottsboro. I guess he was either coming this way or going back towards East Tennessee. He's got a couple of big events coming up, Randy, that I'm sure we'll talk about later and as the show goes on this year.
If Bo continues to makes me hot like he did a while ago, he's not going to get no damn points for me. Now,
Did I miss something?
Oh, I set Randy up.
yeah, all of a sudden, everybody thinks I said a date. Michael, would you, from say 1983 on, would you argue with me about a talent or a date that happened in the Memphis territory?
You're pretty damn good at it, so probably not. I would definitely take your word for it. And I know you've got great notes.
Chad?
Well, here's the story. So I told
Let's
Randy.
don't even hit go. It made me hot once again.
Doc, I'll
We're
talk to
talking
you after
over
the
each
show.
other.
We'll
This
tell you
show
later.
is a zoo. This show is a zoo. And I'm trying to get it back on whack. A zoo. Chad says, and I don't understand this, Chad. You said this 30 minutes ago, and I couldn't get to it. You say, I just bought all rights to USWA wrestling. It's coming back. So my question is, who did you buy the rights to USWA from, and how and when is it coming back? Main question is, who did you buy it from? Because in a sale, the Selker family from Ohio bought all the video, all the USWA, not the CWA, the USWA, bought every bit of it. However, there was a lawsuit, and after the lawsuit, I don't know if ownership of those tapes, and it's a possibility, I'm just curious, Chad, on who you bought those from, because I would like to know who owns this stuff.
Did you say the Smuckers family, as in the jams, jellies, and preserves, bought it?
No, the
Selker.
Selkers.
Oh, the Selkers. Okay.
You worked for them.
I did.
You worked
Oh, at the
for
very end.
them. Yeah.
Oh, those guys. The ones that didn't pay me for the last show.
Yes, those guys.
Okay.
I think I didn't pay much to anybody.
I didn't. Not that day. They didn't anybody. Oh man.
So this
No,
Dennis
great.
King says Silas Mason is the NWA champion, and somebody says Mason was actually just in the area working for a show for a wrestling promotion I don't acknowledge on this program.
Okay.
So that's the hint, guys. We're off the wall, but if we go that direction, we'll go black quickly.
I'm going to throw a
Adam's
flag
not
on the
here
show.
today. Can you tell?
I'm going to throw a flag on the show if we get any crazier.
Can you tell Adam's not here?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm stressed. I don't.
You are
really
stressed.
because I don't like being corrected when I'm right and then having to defend myself. I think 99% out of 100 of people they ask for about historians of Memphis wrestling. No, non-wrestling wise, people would say Mark James. A lot of people would say Scott Till, and I agree. Both cases, those are very knowledgeable people. As far as in the business people, Jim Cornette, myself, and there is others. Bo James is knowledgeable, but he didn't spend a lot of time here and didn't always get our TV. He just heard a lot of stories from people who were big shots there. how the hell did we get into this? But
One other person, by the way, I've sort of been following after I got introduced to him via Pat Trammell, and a guy I worked with. I didn't realize it was the same guy up in Missouri, but Tony Richards is doing a really good job of history. And he wasn't in the biz. He's a great wrestling fan. He wasn't in the business, but he's done a great job of archiving and looking up things and going to the sources, directly to the sources. And I find his history to be pretty doggone good.
have you watched all 9 episodes of the series on the Welch family, Michael?
5 out of the 9 so far, Randy. I've gotten to 5 out of the 9, and I'm trying to do it in a chronological order. I'll tell you what's coming up in Iowa. I think is going to be very, very special because I think a lot of wrestling fans, especially today's fans, are going to be educated and are going to understand how much Roy Welch and the rest of the Welch clan contributed to the early black, and I call it the black and white days of professional wrestling. I have learned a lot that I didn't know about. And not that I'm an expert on the Welch family, but I worked with them and I knew them all, met them all, and called some of their matches. And I'm telling you, and that family, that history has been hidden in somebody's closet or somebody's basement way too long because it's much too important to our wrestling world, to what they contributed.
And now, Michael, you mentioned Iowa, and a lot of people, including Rusty, might not know what in the heck we're talking about. I'll put the graphic up there, Michael, and then you explain who's going into the Tragus Thez Wrestling Hall of Fame. I believe it is in July. And go, Michael.
You got it, and nobody other than one of the greatest second-generation wrestlers of our era, and Jeff Jarrett, well documented on what a tremendous talent he is. I love how they did that picture. If you look in the background, that's an early Jeff picture in the background, but it almost looks like his dad. A lot of resemblance there. But George Tragos and Lou Thez, two of the great shooters, if you would, two of the originals in the world of professional wrestling, two of the greatest champions of all time. Hall of Fame's in Waterloo, Iowa. And I've had 2 people, one of which is Bo James, and the other of which is Tony Richards, tell me that this event, for the purist in wrestling, the purist wrestling fan, that this is the event that you go to. It's a couple of days, and I understand it is just absolutely and informative. Also, there's a lot of people that interact there, and to be honest with you, I'm sort of looking. I'm working Randy, Doc. Pat's working him, and I think Coach is working him too. Would love to do a show up there, if not being on a panel. I'm not trying to grovel onto a panel, but to do a show live from that event, even if we tape the show and play it back on a Tuesday night. I think there's a lot of good old Southern Memphis wrestling history that's going to be actually showcased. I find it ironic, but I find it absolutely fabulous that Jeff Jarrett's going in along with the deal that they're going to put the whole Welch family in that Hall of Fame as well.
Should be very interesting indeed. And now we are going to go to our photos section. We're just now this far in. We're just now in segment 2 of this show, talking Memphis Wrestling. Memphis Wrestling had a death in our community of Memphis Wrestling, and certainly we always for sure hate to hear that. And it happened on January the 14th of 2026. February 28th of 1959 to January the 14th of 26. Rick Link wrestled here in 83, and he came back at a different time and had a very short second run. Man Mountain Link passed away, and certainly we want our sympathies for sure to all people that were affiliated with Man Mountain Link. Michael, any thoughts? I don't know how much you were around in '83. Your thoughts on Mountain Link?
Did not work with him directly, but I will say this: very aware of his talent. He's a huge guy. I mean, he and the one he reminded me a lot of the One Man Gang, who I had really enjoyed working with. Really good guy. He was a bouncer at a club in Baton Rouge when my daughter was at LSU, and she was getting carded, and she had a St. John, and he looked at it and he looked at her and he said, do you know Michael St. John? And she went, that's my dad. And then he let her in the club. But I had worked with him in the Heroes of Wrestling. I'd worked with him in the Super Clan. Great guy. But Man Mountain Link reminded me a lot of him. But I do know he was a very strong person, and he was well followed and well thought of.
Later on the show, we got a couple of videos to show you there. Real quick fast take on this. Do you remember, were you in the Memphis area in '83 when Man Mountain Link was around, Rusty?
Yes, I was, and I remember seeing him. I didn't realize his name was Rick Link, but I put it together after he said that. And I only remember seeing him, kind of like Michael, a few times. I never really got too involved with it, but he was a very big guy, so he fit the mold of somebody like a one-man gang. So that's about all I know about him.
Now, last week, I know, Rusty, you had watched the show, and the Doc wasn't with us last week, Chris Ellis, and Chris hadn't been on in way too long a period of time. Pat Trammell has assured me he'll be back next week, and so as long as Michael is back in town, still in town, he will be here. Michael, I think one of the most thrilling things about the show last week, we saw that angle from the 70s and classic Channel 13 footage, and man, I wish they were more, don't you?
Absolutely. That angle with Tojo Yamamoto getting dumped with the paint can. I mean, there's none better. There's none better, Randy.
And that was in 1986. That was long past the Channel 13 days. We showed the Don Anderson Jerry Lawler match and the Mike Stark angle that was so good for sure. And we have one of the most famous situations. This is funny and this is classic. It's campy and it's typical Memphis wrestling. This is a 3-minute, 15-second video from WHBQ TV, Channel 13. We'll watch now on Talking Memphis Wrestling.
And I remember one of those visitors, a very special one from Gotham City, who we'll meet in just a moment. Hey, you're going to be in town all this weekend, is that correct?
Yes, I am, and thank you very much. I must apologize. I didn't have a ticket. Kids, don't do as I just did. I sneaked in because I'm on a case. And I'm working undercover. That's why I'm not wearing my complete outfit. Right. I wanted to be inconspicuous. I didn't want anyone to recognize me. But there is a rumor that Mr. Freeze and Penguin are here in Memphis because of the radical change in the weather, and that they have a hookup with the evil king of Memphis, who just might be wrestling here this morning.
Do you know who this is?
Is that who I think it is?
Yes, it is. What is this?
Well, what does it look like? Tell me, what does it look like? I heard he was going to be here today, so I dressed appropriately. That's what it is, the Super King. What else?
Super King.
Okay, you say maybe you're going to be able to give us some help with this guy here. You're on the case, and I think we're going to need all the help we can get with the King.
Well, now, I've heard he's had his troubles with the Joker and the Penguin and Mr. Freeze, but he hadn't handled the King yet. And I got somebody in a box that I'm going to bring out here in just a few minutes that'll make a Joker look like Mickey Mouse, I can tell you that.
I've heard about your box, but I want to say that costume that you're wearing, if you are indeed the evil king of Memphis, has been stolen from a friend of mine, Soup. Superman, I call him.
Soup.
Right. And I think that Spider-Man, Spidey Baby, would probably object too. By the way, looking at you, I don't think it's too late for you. I think it possibly, if you change some of your habits, some of your methods of wrestling, if you used your left and right turn indicator in your car, did other things that people normally do when they're polite and courteous, and you weren't such a naughty, mean person, it wouldn't be too late for you.
And I can see that you're not familiar with these rednecks that we have around here. That's exactly right. That's right.
I tell you what, gentlemen,
They
I
look
think
like
splendid people to me, and they're Bat fans. I know they are. And I think it's insulting to call them rednecks.
I think maybe we better settle this elsewhere. And again, both of
I
you are
got to
going to
get
be at
Dr.
the...
Frank in here anyway.
Both of you are going to be down at the Cook Convention Center at the car show all this weekend, and maybe you can settle it there. Badman, appreciate you coming by, and
Thank you very
really
much.
hope you
He's
can get
not
us
a nice
with a
man,
king
is
here. No, he is not. He has some nasty habits, as you say, and maybe he'll change some of
Yes,
them.
I really, I feel that it's possible that we could help rehabilitate him, possibly, and God.
Classic video. There is no doubt about that. So before we go back to Michael, your thoughts, were you in Memphis at that time in the 70s when Adam Batman showed up, William?
Yes, I remember that show specifically when he came on. Everybody was stunned, you know, that the actual Adam West Batman was on TV. You know, and he mentioned, and Lawler mentioned too, Dr. Frank. Those were two iconic characters on Memphis TV on a single episode. So yeah, I remember that very clearly.
No doubt about it, and we are going to punch Michael back in. I think he got a little too hot. Michael, your thoughts on that video?
You know, I do remember that. I was programming at WMPS in Memphis when that show went, and that was at Channel 13, I believe. And you know, I think it was. They had the big card show. In fact, we promoted that card show that they had in Memphis then, and that was a sort of a new kind of thing that was still happening in the early 80s. But Lawler was tremendous.
Oh.
I did notice that was a clip from probably the Lawler show or something. Jerry looked a little bloated, and he had I guess gained too much weight at that point in time. But that's probably the biggest I've ever seen Jerry look.
Yeah, did at the time, and it was a classic thing. And I also want to, because we didn't have much knowledge about Man Mountain Link, and it was Rick Link, and he came in, and it was just very interesting, and for sure. And I am trying to find that. This is early Man Mountain Link in Memphis on Talking Memphis Wrestling.
Rain sprinkled down, and I guess this is it for us. Jimmy Hart standing in the wings, and here he comes, whistle and all, and he's got him a brand new charge he's bringing in, Jimmy Hart.
You know what? This is unbelievable. I sit back there in the back and listen to him tell me what he's going to do, what his plans are, where he's going to go. Well, let me tell you something, big man. I'll tell you what your plans are. You're going to climb the ring with this man right here, Mad Mountain Link. You know, Andy Kaufman called me, and there's still a $5,000 bounty money up on Lawler. And I'll tell you what, he's going to look at this. Look at this man right here, baby. Lawler, I can't wait. I can't wait to sit at ringside, man. Now, Man Mountain Link's next for Lawler, but he wants Ken Patera. Well, you can forget about Ken Patera because he's got your international championship belt. That's right, Lawler, the man that I manage, Jimmy Hart, and he's on vacation right now. But you can't call him. Nobody's going to call him. I'm not even going to call him because, baby, he don't want to talk to anything or anybody because he is soaking it up and living it up, man. And I'm living it up, too, because I am so happy he's got the international championship belt. So you leave him alone, and everybody's going to leave the man alone. Look at this man. Come on.
All you got to do is
right here.
get him in there.
That's right. Now I want to give the people a little history lesson out there. I want to go back in time about 5 weeks ago when there was a match against my Moondogs against Jackie Fargo and Stan Lane. Right or wrong? Well, this match was an outrage. It was so outrageous that half the TV shows wouldn't even let us run the thing. Eddie Marlin had to spend about 2 hours with the board of directors to even get the film put on TV again. But I want you to run this little tape right now. Run this tape, a history lesson right now, back in time.
Take a look at it.
2x4.
Regardless of how they did it, they won it.
With
They
a
beat them
2x4.
with a 2x4.
The champions right there. That's great. Well, you know
Yeah.
what? Let me tell you something right now. It's been a long time since Jimmy Hart has put on his Moondog helmet. It's been a long time since Jimmy Hart has blown his Moondog whistle. I told you, Fabulous Ones, time is running out on you boys. Time is gone. The vacation's over. My Moondogs will be ready. I hope you're ready. You better put Fargo in that wheelchair and ship him down there, man. That's what you better do, because I promise you this. Go ahead. What were you going to say,
I was
Russell?
going to say I want to clarify the Moondogs we asked to be here today, but Eddie Marlin asked that the Fabulous Ones and the Moondogs not show up in the studio because we don't want
Well,
any of
why
that.
don't you tell the people the real truth? What happened is the Fabulous Ones called Eddie Martin and said the Moondog's going to be on there, and he said, yeah. He said, well, we don't want to be on there, Eddie. That's the truth of the matter. They didn't want to be here. Well, let me just tell you, we're going to be ready, and you better be. Now, Man Mountain Link, Lawler, you get a camera of this man right now. Man Mountain Link. $5,000 bounty money. Andy Kaufman sent him to me. Lawler, it's going to be the night of your life. I can't wait, baby. I can't wait. I'd pay $5,000 to be there myself. Man Mountain Link.
Okay, well, you might know Jimmy Hart would be the one that might bring a beacon here to try to do something to Jerry the King Lawler. He is managing him for Andy Kaufman, and he... Oh, boy, I'll tell you, that is something else. Okay, we got a single match.
That type of gimmick ain't for me. Never was for me. Anything that makes people laugh when they're a heel, you know, is just not the right deal. So nothing personally against the guy that's in heaven. I just didn't like that character the way that it was presented in Memphis. Your thoughts on Man Mountain Link? You seem to enjoy it. You were laughing the whole time, and that's not a good thing when you're a wrestling booker that likes heat. Rusty?
Oh, I had forgotten the chicken until right then, and then it all came back to me. Yes, now I remember, and I did get a kick out of it. I have to admit, you know, I'm very much a fan of traditional wrestling, I guess you would say. But that particular one, I remember being very entertained by. So I get it. It's not everybody's cup of tea, I guess. But, you know, Memphis was notorious for having sort of over-the-top characters and, you know, bizarre events occurring on TV. So this is just, you know, another one in that package.
Michael, your thoughts? I'm sure, I would imagine you're on the same page I am on this subject.
You can too gimmicky a gimmick. You know what I'm saying? You can too gimmicky a gimmick. And to me, the first one, when he first came on, I went Mad Dog Vachon, the Sheik, Abdullah the Butcher. Here's another one. And I just, you know, that's not my cup of tea either, Eddie. I'll be honest with you. Now, a strong guy, big guy that can move, you know, brute, that kind of thing. I like that. That's why I like the one-man gang. That's, you know, those kind of Crusher Blackwell, those kind of guys I get into. I like that. And they're heels and it sells. But to me, you know, that they over gimmick the gimmick. That's my opinion.
We are hour into the show. I have another Man Mountain Link video, and it's 7 minutes and 50 seconds. I just, as the producer today of this show, and I do that, decide what goes on there and what, no, not whether Adam's here or not. 7 minutes, 50 seconds. Then I got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. We're not going to play that video, and we're going to go quick takes on pictures, and I'm going to try to be out of here by 8:30 if possible. This is classic Jackie Fargo, Michael, bruised and battered, and this is one of my classic things because Jackie Fargo was a real wrestler. I mean, look at that. I love those sights.
You know, when you see a picture in this day and time of a wrestler looking at that, like that means some makeup artist did one hell of a job. Well, this isn't a makeup artist doing a hell of a job. This is Jackie Fargo after a bruising battle. And I mean, he's all busted up in the whole 9 yards. That's a classic, fabulous Fargo picture.
No doubt about it as we go again. And you can talk about this picture because one of your favorite guys, one of my favorite guys, on the left side of this screen. Anyway, this was a Chattanooga, Tennessee, January 5th, 1980, right before Nick Michael had closed up shop. Anyway, discuss this graphic.
Guess who the commentator was at that show?
I think his initials is MSJ.
You win the pony. Bingo. Yes, it was. That was a hell of a match too. And that the great thing about that match is that all four of the men, that was one of those wild melees in and out of the floor at the Memorial Auditorium. I mean, those guys, they went at it. And to be honest with you, I remember the match very fluently. One of George Goulas's better matches in the ring. And I know that the other boys were probably doing a good job carrying him. And of course, Bobby Eaton was even sensational back then. But you look at Ferris and Latham, the Blonde Bombers, you're looking at one half of the Moondogs there. And of course, Larry Latham, the honky tonk man, Danny Davis, who could work on his own. I mean, you had four excellent workers and another guy that could, when he was carried and could do a good job. And that was a sellout, by the way. I remember that was a wild place that night.
How old was Bobby Eaton then? I was going to ask, how old was Bobby Eaton then? Probably
22, 20, 23, somewhere.
Oh, okay. So he's a little older than I thought, but still a very young guy.
Yeah.
That's a great combination of wrestlers. I guess that would work to try to carry George Goulas, who was, one of the worst of all times in many people's eyes. But both Wayne Ferris and Larry Latham and Bobby Eaton could work together to overcome that, I guess. I don't think I ever saw that match. In particular, George did not come to Memphis that much. I know Jerry Jarrett was not, fond of having George on his card. So I don't think we ever saw that particular match, although we saw those guys in various settings come to Memphis, pretty frequently.
Next picture that we're going to show, Michael, I believe this is two of your favorite dudes. And plus, a wrestling announcer is on here that's not Lance Russell, Corey Macklin, Dave Brown, or Michael St. John, because it's from another territory when I adventured in a new role, and I was in Birmingham, Alabama, in the Boutwell Auditorium. And Michael, who am I with?
Well, I see that's Dr. Tom Pritchard, I think, on the left, is it not?
Yes.
And that's Randy Hales in the middle. Boy, look at that suit. You paid some good money for that suit.
Bill Dundee was calling me Randy Abe Lincoln Hales.
I'm trying to figure out who the guy on the right is that you've got the microphone in the face. Is that Roy Lee Welch? Is that one of the Welch?
Charlie Platt.
Charlie Platt. Oh, my God. I only met Charlie one time. I was more familiar with what his radio work was, but I only met him one time.
So where was Charlie, Randy? Where was he located?
Dothan, out of Dothan.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and
I don't
he did
remember
Gulf
him.
South, and he did Continental for the Fullers and the Welches and the Fields. Good guy, good announcer, nice guy.
No doubt about it. And somebody sent me this picture at a nightclub, not Jerry Lawler, that was doing a wrestling event in Memphis, and this is randomly, and I don't know if it's a real or what. How about this young lady? She has some class, Michael.
Absolutely, and great handwriting as well. We love Randy Hales. I love that. I'm surprised you don't have that on the wall behind you when we do this show.
I do love myself. That is true. Michael?
Oh, boy. Here we go. Don Green, Al Green, Tojo Yamamoto, and it looks like Jackie Fargo being held, either Jackie Fargo or Jerry Jarrett being held off by the referee. And that looks like a Memphis shot, I believe.
Yeah. Memphis shot, Mid-South Coliseum, Don and Al Green against Tojo Yamamoto, and I think that is Jackie Fargo, and that's a great picture, and we're going to go a little bloody, and here's Michael St. John to describe on Talking Memphis Wrestling.
Blood and guts. Again, that's Don Green and Fuller, Robert Fuller.
Would you have guessed that, Doc?
I didn't get Ron Fuller. No, or Robert. That's Robert.
Robert,
Fuller.
that's
That is
Robert.
Robert,
Robert,
right.
yeah.
I did get
Robert.
Don
Did I say
Green,
Ron?
but
I'm sorry. I meant Robert.
Yeah, you might have said the right thing. You know, I guess I've only seen Robert with white hair, or that's what I remember him with. So no, I wouldn't have gotten that.
Randy, better worker, Ron or Robert Fuller?
I would say they were pretty close. They were pretty close. So I think Robert was by far the better babyface of the two. What would you think? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. What do you think?
I don't either. I think Ron was bigger and Robert was more gangly, but I think Robert could sell like a son of a gun.
Right.
And I always really respected him for that.
Okay, Doc, you do the caption on this one.
Okay, this is the fabulous Jackie Fargo, and he's talking to, I believe, has his arm around, rather, I believe, is that Robert Gibson?
You got the last name right.
So that's Rick. That's Rick Gibson. Okay.
Yep, that's Ricky.
Yeah, Rick was a little bit bigger than Robert, and I guess a couple of years older, and really looked like a star. And I remember we talked about him, sometime in the past.
Now, this one dude, obviously, we've already seen him once today, and it's ironic he has the basketball in his hand, and here's Michael St. John to do the caption on this.
That's his sport, and he was a hell of a player, and still referees to this day. In fact, hopefully we'll get to see him in the next week or so. We're scheduled to have lunch, so looking forward to seeing George. George now is ball-headed, and there he's got that Andy Kaufman cut going. But that's the fabulous Jackie Fargo, and that may be one of the wrestling and basketball events that George did all over the Mid-South, of which Kicks 104 was a big part of back in the day.
We go with the next picture, and do you know who's with Fargo in this picture, besides the two kids that were wrestling fans? Any guesses who this wrestler was?
Haystacks Calhoun.
Calhoun, yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. Ring the bell. Michael St. John and Rusty got the number on that. Ring the bell, and we have spoke many, many times in this show about the Fuller family, and here's to describe who the father of the two young men we were talking about just moments ago, Michael St. John.
That is that Lester Well? No, it's Buddy Fuller. That's Buddy Fuller.
Buddy, yeah.
Boy, look at the resemblance with Robert in him.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, you got this next one. Somebody that got on my nerves, and by the way, I didn't know Harry Thornton, so I don't know if he'd have got on my nerves or not.
He would have.
Michael?
Oh, man. I'll tell you. This guy, you're right about that. And he came to Memphis, and I don't know who he endeared himself with, but he's famous for selling Nick Goulis's territory. And he sold it to some unsuspecting person, and he was an ultimate con man, but boy, could he bring heat. And help me out with the name, because I'm having a senior moment, Randy. That's
Ronnie P.
Ronnie
Gossett.
Gossett. Ronnie P.
Yeah. Okay.
Ronnie P. in these younger days. My God. There's a story that I keep hearing about him and Shawn Michaels. I don't think it's something we can repeat on this show.
Oh, no. I know where you're going. I know where you're going, and people said the same
I can
thing
guess
about,
where you're going.
People said the same thing about Ronnie P. and Jeff Jarrett, but we won't go there. We will go to this picture. This is, do you think, and we know a lot of wrestlers want to be singers. Jerry Lawler tried it. Lynn Rossi had a record, and Jackie Fargo had his own nightclub. We saw a picture last week with him and Eddie Vaughn. Here's Jackie Fargo. So what's the tie-in, you think, with music and wrestlers?
Actors want to be singers
Yeah.
too.
Right.
I mean,
Performers.
I think the singing. I think everybody thinks they can sing until they've heard themselves on tape.
Yeah, it's just being a performer. You want to do it all. Was that in Jackie's club, Randy? Do you know?
I think it's similar to the suit he was wearing last week. So that's the club with Eddie Bond. This is the domino caught in that hole by. Do you know who, Michael?
I can't, from this angle, I can't see.
I can't tell.
Dennis Hall.
Dennis Hall.
Hmm.
Wow.
This is Jackie Fargo, Roughhouse Fargo, and David and Jerry Novak, the bounty hunters, Michael.
Yeah, and I believe this is from the action that still picture that we open these pictures with. This is the result of this match is, I think, where that picture came from.
Very
Looks like, yeah. You can see his
Very-
Jackie's face.
interesting, and that's a nice little drawing there. We will go here with this picture, and this is leaving the Tennessee territory, going to Georgia Championship Wrestling, Gordon Stalley, and Michael, who
It
is...
bees that way sometimes.
You got to call somebody.
You got to call somebody. That's Thunderbolt Patterson. The man could talk. The man could talk, and the man could wrestle. I always loved it when Downtown Bruno, and I think the world of Downtown Bruno. Always have, always will. But I used to love it when he would do that line, because he would do it in the same context and in the same voice type the Thunderbolt used to use. It bees that way sometimes. Love that. Love that.
Fantastic Downtown Bruno, and a great talker for sure. Do you know who this is?
Kevin Sullivan?
In Knoxville is a very
Wow.
young Kevin Sullivan for sure. This is a shot promoting TV5 wrestling.
I know this guy too.
I'd never seen this before, and
Boy, I don't know.
This
You don't
is an
know who
art
that
card
is?
with Rick Morton.
yes,
That's Ricky Morton?
yes.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Now, you think about there are 3 generations of Mortons. You had the bald eagle, Paul Morton, who was a referee, but before that was a wrestler. And a small fella, but could go.
Yeah.
Ricky Morton, to me, is one of the best workers of all time. He's just phenomenal. And I've watched Kerry, and I haven't gotten to know Kerry. I've met him a couple of times. But I think Kerry, if he's still wrestling the way he was a few years ago, I thought was one of the real bright stars in the independent world.
Oh my goodness, I'm shocked that a major promotion has not picked him up. How about this one?
Phil Hickerson.
Nope,
Don Green?
nope. I don't know. Worked for Nick a lot.
Nicola.
Boy, you got me. It's not Big Bad John. Help me out here, Lord.
I don't know.
You stumped me.
He wrestled as a brother tag team, even though it wasn't his brother. But
Al Green?
No, he wrestled and had a heck of a run from a famous wrestling family, and his tag team partner ended up being the promoter of Championship Wrestling in Florida. Who is this guy?
One of the Grahams.
Crazy Luke.
Yes.
Crazy Luke Graham, yeah. You know, he worked for Nick a couple of times when I was doing the show, but I think he did work for Nick before I got there. But yeah, I never. Great story on Luke Graham. I always thought Luke Graham was a great wrestler, and Eddie and Dr. Jerry and Eddie Graham, Luke Graham, you know, they were there. I don't think they were any kin to each other. But the fact of the matter is, Luke Graham, the first time I met him in the locker room, there's this big brute on TV. You know, he had the biggest Southern drawl I had ever heard in my life in the locker room. I mean, he just drawled like crazy. Crazy Luke, man alive. That brings back memories. I didn't recognize him. I apologize.
I didn't either.
I need to bring my brainstem back in gear after that the game last night. I got to refocus here.
We are going to have an abbreviated version of Talking Memphis Wrestling tonight. Again, I got a Memphis trip early in the morning, so we got to get up and do that. But we're going to go with one of my favorite heel tag teams in the history of Memphis. Phil Hickerson and Dennis Condrey, pre the Midnight Express, before any of that. Hickerson and Condrey drew money in the Nashville end of the territory, the Memphis end of the territory for Ron Fuller. Hickerson and Condrey was great, no doubt about it. Here, they are wrestling against Tojo Yamamoto and Bill Dundee. If this video works, it's for the Southern Tag Team Championship. Hickerson and Condrey against Bill Dundee.
Big flying press. Bill Dundee kicked off of there by Phil. As Dundee, who has been rattled around in pretty good fashion by the champions, Condrey and Hickerson, reversed it with a flying press off the turnbuckle. But he needs in a desperate way to get a tag on Tojo Yamamoto right now. Oh, the big elbow from Condrey. Condrey sensing a victory is hurled off right into referee Jerry Calhoun. Big broad arm by Phil Hickerson. There's a tag on Tojo. The referee still down. Tojo nails Condrey, nails Hickerson. Yamamoto with Condrey into it. Puts him down on a canvas. Tags Bill Dundee. Dundee over the top rope. Rolls him down. 2, 3, he beat him. Bill Dundee, Tojo Yamamoto have won the NWA Southern Tag Championship belts. The $5,000 remains in Yamamoto and Dundee's possession, and once again, Billy Dundee and Tojo Yamamoto are co-holders of the title. They held it separately with other partners, but this is the first time that Dundee and Yamamoto have in themselves captured the NWA Southern Tag Championship. The Big Pin and Yamamoto and Dundee have upset Phil Hickerson and Dennis Condrey. The time, 24 minutes, 25 seconds, 24:25. Dundee and Yamamoto, the champions. This is Lance Russell from the Memphis Mid-South Coliseum.
All right, as we saw, Tojo, high energy. Final comments for the show, last take, Dr. Rusty Robinson and his goodbyes for tonight on Talking Magic Wrestling.
Oh man, that last match was great. I wish we'd seen the whole thing. You know, I always thought, and I think everybody did, Hickerson and Condrey, they were legit tough guys. You could just see them going and cleaning out any bar, you know, in Midtown Memphis whenever they wanted to. I mean, there was no doubt in anybody's mind that these were tough guys. So I wish we'd seen that whole match. I may have to go back and look up that match if I can find it. But otherwise, what else? I learned a few things tonight. I didn't recognize a number of the pictures tonight, so that was good. And I know now not to set Randy up again and get him all fired up. So I'm learning. Thanks again for having me this week.
Thank you, Rusty, and we appreciate that last take. Michael, first of all, how shocked were you Monday night where Indiana completed the season undefeated and we have a new national championship? Did you ever in your wildest dream, as a lover of sports forever, knowing of the great championships in basketball that Bobby Knight won for the University of Indiana back when he was winning those championships, would you have bet my life saving, Doc's life saving, and your life saving on the fact that the University of Indiana would ever win a football championship? But the world is different.
The world is different, and that's what NIL and the transfer portal have done to college football, and they still need to get a handle on that. But Randy, I love it. I love it. It's Cinderella. I love it. I love it. And I know I never thought I'd ever say it, but it also gives me hope that my little bitty alma mater of 6,000 kids on West End Avenue in Nashville. There's hope for us. And we've got, I'm not saying I have, but we got money at Vanderbilt. And, and Indiana still is going to get better, because now you've got one of the biggest guys, the former owner of the Dallas Mavericks, the guy that created radio.com, Mark Cuban, that has just put $10 million in. And I understand now he's going to double it because of the national championship for players and for NIL. That's great. I love it. It's a new world order. I hate to use the NWO slogan, but it's a new world order in college football, no doubt about it. But that's why I had the shirt on. I'm thrilled to death for IU, and I know a lot of people that go to IU. Now I'm going to tell you a background story, and this is an exclusive.
Okay.
My good friend, Dr. Eric Jansen, owns SportsMed here in North Alabama. They have like 11 locations, and it's orthopedic center. Wonderful orthopedic center. They do fabulous works. They operated on my mom. They operated on my son. They operate. I mean, I've been there. Brittany's been there for foot problems. Melanie's been there for her wrist. And Dr. Eric Jansen, when my son was coaching at Florida State, was a big Florida State fan, and he operated on my mother, and I got to know him. And he said, well, your son's at Florida State. I'm a big fan. I like to go to the games. I have an airplane. And if you'll get the tickets, I'll fly you down. So that saved me 6.5 hours up and down from Huntsville to Tallahassee. So we got to be good friends. His son is engaged to Kurt Signetti's daughter, Natalie.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
he was at the game last night. He's been going for 2 years now, and wonderful family. Coach Signetti, I will say this much. If the goofball at Alabama, the athletic director, would have not hired Howdy Doody as their head coach out of the West Coast and went and got Kurt Signetti instead of this bozo, that could have been Alabama last night. I've told that to all my friends. But the fact of the matter is, I think Coach Signetti is a chip off the old Dick Saban block. He's a no-nonsense kind of coach. I love it for Indiana. I love it for the fans. And I was a little upset that my boy at Vanderbilt, my player at Vanderbilt that I really liked, did not win the Heisman Trophy, and that this kid from Indiana did. But after he won that Heisman Trophy, I really got to watch him and respect him, and they made the right choice. The guy is amazing. And I love the family tie that his mom has MS, and what a great family, and what a great, I'm telling you, Cinderella couldn't have written this story. Disney couldn't have written this story any better. There's going to be a movie, and when there is, it better be named Hoosier 2.0. But
Right.
instead of being about basketball, it needs to be about football. But thank you for that opportunity, Randy.
Yeah, I think that was great. The original three, hopefully, if things don't change, they won't change on my end. Pat Trammell, after an absence of the longest absence, he's not mad at nobody. He's either working or his hobby job of keeping score at high school football there in a Birmingham-based thing. But I think me, you, and Pat will be together again on Talking Memphis Wrestling.
Can we call it a reunion show?
Yeah, let's do it.
Love it. Love it.
Do you want to write the show?
No, I can't do a job you do. You do the best job in the country. I still don't understand why somebody hadn't hired you as a booker. My gosh. The best booker in the country, and he's doing a podcast on Tuesday night with little old me.
And having a good thing doing it. I think I hate doing this because I'm always thinking, where are we going next? Thinking all that kind of stuff and calling it. But to have to host and then worry about getting everybody on and off, it makes me even appreciate, and I've always appreciated Adam. He can concentrate just on that, where I'm all over the place, and I think the production-wise of the show shows that, and I apologize to anybody, but I think our audience today enjoyed the content, and certainly, so here's another question to you, Michael. We'll end with this, and more a football question from James Davis, 5613. Michael, do you think Mendoza kid will be a good pro?
Depends on who he goes to and who coaches him. I think he's got a world of talent. He certainly has the heart for it, and he certainly doesn't mind sacrificing his body. I saw the pre-run on the Sports Illustrated article or the Sports Illustrated cover that comes out tomorrow, and it's that picture of him going airborne, going in for the touchdown. It's a great shot. But the answer to that question is, in my opinion, when you jump from college to pro, whether you make it or not, yeah, part of that's on you, but also part of that's on who you got coaching you. And some of these players that come out of college that aren't as heralded, that go on to be great pro players, and some Heisman Trophy candidates just don't develop that way. I think a lot has to do as to who your coach is, and it'd be interesting to see who he goes to.
Reading between the lines, I would say the Indiana coach is Michael's choice to be the next Alabama coach. If a change is made, is that a fair?
I would love to have him. I don't think you're going to get him though. I think he's. I think now that Indiana, they're paying him big. The guy's becoming instant. He's the successor right now. Lane Kiffin. Everything was Lane Kiffin until he went to LSU. Now everything's Coach Cignetti because he's won. He won at James. He won at India. He's won national championships at 2 Indiana universities. Indiana University, Pennsylvania. That's the name of the school. It's in Pennsylvania. And now IU, but he's a chip off the old block, and I was I'm one of those disgruntled Alabama people that we went away from the Saban tree when Saban stepped away to hire somebody, and I think that was Greg Byrne, the athletic director, just trying to, doing a Dixie Carter, executing his ego, because he knew when he came here 5 years before Saban left, that he was told, don't fuck with Saban, or excuse the French, don't mess with Saban, period. The board told him that. And then as soon as he had a chance to make a chance, he made a change, and he wanted to get away from the Saban tree, and he did it. And I'm not saying the guy can't coach. I'm just saying the guy has a personality of the wall behind me.
3 quarterbacks we've saw recently. Obviously, as a Vanderbilt graduate, that young man, certainly in the mix. Second person we saw on the losing side of the game Monday night, and certainly he was a sore loser, but if you're not a sore loser, if you're not upset when you lost, I don't want him
Carson Beck, yeah.
On the team. Carson Beck, you're right, and of course the guy that won for Indiana. Which would be your quarterback?
Right now, I would love Mendoza because I like everything he's done, and he's been to the mountaintop, and he knows how to win. So right now, it would be Mendoza. I like Diego Pavia. I think he's a little undersized. I think he'd do great in the Canadian Football League, but he did great for Vanderbilt, and then our thanks as alumni to him. I thought Carson Beck was high as a kite last night. Every time they showed him on the sideline, it looked like he'd been smoking a joint. So I don't know. He's never enamored me. I wasn't enamored with him at Georgia.
Very interesting situation as we talk about everything. And before we get out of here, I'm going to see if we have one last comment that we need. I think we did a better job tonight getting to the comments, and they one more. Let's see. They're agreeing with talking about the situation with Pavia and all the quarterbacks. Final thoughts as we get out of here, Michael.
Well, we're past the halfway mark in January, which I'm always thrilled to see January 20th come around, because I know a month from now in February, pitchers and catchers will be warming up in Arizona and Florida, getting ready for baseball, which I absolutely love. I do want to add one thing, though. I have gone, I don't know, my dad used to say, when you go to more funerals than you do weddings in your life, you've gotten old. And since December 18th, I have had to go to 9 funerals in that time. And the one today was a gentleman that has owned a radio station here in North Alabama for over 50 years. Pat Currington, who is also in the Alabama Broadcasting Hall of Fame, and is a friend of mine. Has been we were in opposite. We were, in a competition, if you would. But he was always a great competitor. I always respected what he did and what he stood for our business, and we lost him. And but 9 funerals since in a month is way too many. And I hope and pray that nobody out there is going through this same dark era of their life as I am right now. But it just gets to be, it's one of those things where you go funeral after funeral, and you just keep going to funeral. I mean, half of my life since December 19th has been going to funerals. So unfortunately, that's been the case. But Randy, I'll tell you, it's just, I guess, the time of the year. The other thing I want to quickly say for people that are in harm's way with the storm, the ice storms and snowstorms coming, I think you're in the path of it as well.
Oh, yeah.
I know we've got bad weather coming for the weekend all the way around.
And yeah, absolutely. Our thoughts to everybody. Michael, real quick, as everybody see the Fun Media Group in the background there in your home studio, and our audience here at Talking Memphis Wrestling attached to Michael St. John, of course, and Fun Radio. Tell everybody how to check out the app and how to check out and listen to the station, and tell them when the best time. You're probably all over the place, but the best time for sure that they can tune in to hear Michael St. John's lovely voice.
Well, I don't know if it's lovely or not, but 9 till 2 Monday through Friday, and Saturday morning 6 till 10. Yeah, you can go. Our website is fun927.com or funradioal.com or funradiotn.com. And the app is free, and would strongly recommend you bring it down. But of course, we have instant weather alerts as well. And just go and whatever your smart device is, whether it's a tablet or a phone or whatever, just go on your app store and type in Fun Media Group or Fun 92.7, and it comes up. And then once you've got it, you've got a little dashboard of all the stations across the top, and you can listen at your leisure. And of course, we'll give you instant updates, like I say, weather-wise, whether it happens in Tennessee or here in Alabama.
Appreciate that very much, everybody. I'm asking you to check that out. Michael, thanks a lot, and Rusty, thank you. And until next Tuesday, when Pat Travel returns for Dr. Robinson, Michael St. John, this is Randy Hills with Missed Out on Done, and we'll see you the next time we see you on Talking Memphis Wrestling.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales is now streaming live on Fun Media at fun927.com, and is always on Facebook, YouTube, X, Twitch, and at tv5wrestling.com.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hill.